Hey guys, today I want to present to you my attempt at what I believe to be one of the most awkward matchups in the game. As a bow player, I am at my most comfortable when I'm able to weave through attacks while landing meaty power shots on the monster's face. Normally, a lot of matchups do not have this problem. However, that is especially not the case with this one, Arch-Tempered Velkhana. I'm going to explain all the problems that the bow suffers when playing against this matchup, even more so than other ranged weapons, and why I would not suggest beginners or amateur bow players to attempt this matchup without being mentally prepared for some struggle. To understand why this matchup is so cursed, I first want to talk about ledges. For a lot of weapons, ledges create an alternative damage option, and some weapons can perform ledge attacks so exceptionally well that an aerial playstyle has been created around it. The bow, on the other hand, only has bad options. Shooting arrows gives you a rapid shot that removes all your bow charges upon landing, meaning that you would have to start your combo over again. And as for the melee attack, no. In most fights, playing around the ledge is relatively simple. Players can move off the ledge without shooting to conserve stamina, or they can dash away from the ledge to avoid jumping off. Now, let's look at Arch-Tempered Velkhana's moveset. Throughout the fight, you will see icy ground which turn into icicles when hit with Velkhana's ice beam attacks. Not only do the icicles block arrows when they are in front of Velkhana, but they also count as a ledge when you move off of them while destroyed, making it extremely difficult to maneuver in certain situations. The artificial ledges are not the real problem, as I find what I dub the Walmart attack also spawns these ledges, forcing bow players to maneuver around them before being able to perform punishes. Otherwise, they will have some extremely difficult positions to play around. I can't count how many times I've carded trying to dodge an attack, only to have the dash stunted by the ledge in this manner, and not traveling the needed distance to move out of danger. Normally, having to deal with bad ledges is not horrible by itself. Otherwise, the Ancient Forest would be my most hated map. Oh wait, it is still my most hated map. For that very reason. Anyways, on the bright side, at least Velkhana has a very forgiving head hitbox, so that I'm able to constantly land full power shots on its head, right? No. Aside from the head hitbox being extremely unforgiving, its constant movement makes it ever a slight bit harder to maximize your damage output unless you are uncomfortably close, meaning that you will have to flick your wrist extra far to line up that perfect shot. Maybe it is easier for controller players. Let me know if that is the case. I watched a few very impressive bow runs for the hunt, and all of them are able to line up some very precise headshots in order to maximize damage and topples. Unfortunately, those runs seem a little bit too much like a pipe dream at the moment. Head aside, none of the other hitboxes are really worth mentioning aside from forelegs, with its slightly better elemental hit zone. However, because it cannot be tenderized, players will not be doing a lot of damage even with an elemental bow. Lastly, I feel like the hunt for Arch-Tempered Velkhana is one of the least accessible fights for bow players, or ranged players in general, due to its absurd damage. As a ranged player, we take extra damage from all physical attacks, and less damage from elemental attacks. However, Velkhana's attacks deal mostly physical damage, even its ice beam attacks, meaning that ranged players are required to dodge all attacks to avoid falling over spontaneously, even with full endgame armor set with maxed upgrades. Not to mention, the Ice Blight also does not help. I found that approaching this fight as a melee weapon made the learning experience much smoother, as dying in one hit over and over again tends to make the learning curve a little slower. It was only after learning and becoming relatively confident in executing punishes with the sword and shield that I even began considering learning the fight as a bow. To put things into perspective, the build I use to solo Arch-Tempered Velkhana can survive almost every attack from Fatalis, save the charged fireballs, yet I'll be falling over to attacks like a flinch ice beam. The ATV fight in general is, in my opinion, one of the coolest fights in the game, and I enjoy the high-speed pace of the fight, giving myself almost no time to breathe, but Velkhana's thresholds and flinches are more than fair for the difficulty and punishing attacks. At this point in the game, I think there is little I can do to change the overall balance or feel of the fight. Not to mention, if the fight for the Velkhana was any more accessible for bow players, I think that it will take away a little bit from the difficulty. If you have a weapon that you want to try learning the fight with, or if you have any tips for certain weapons, feel free to drop them in the comments below. For now, I hope that everyone enjoys farming the pieces for Velkhana and card a little less than I do. If you found this video informative and want to learn more, and by that I mean you want to see myself get fact-checked by a much better players, or if you want to join me live on my stream for a hunt or two sometime, you can catch me on Twitch at BrightShadeVT on Monday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 8 PM Pacific. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.